Square Enix has revealed what their plans are for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, some things they want to change, and what their intentions are going forward. All that in today's video. Please like the video, subscribe to never miss a Final Fantasy update, and share the video to help grow our community. Now, let's talk about what Hamaguchi had to say when he was talking to the Daily Star, as he had some very interesting things to say when it comes to the final entry of the FF7 Remake series and some things that he wants to change from Rebirth with the last entry. Let's talk first of all about what he had to say regarding DLC and why he doesn't intend to do DLC for Rebirth. In quotes, "We definitely do hear the desire from fans, the voices out there that want that kind of thing. I understand it completely, but I think from my perspective, what the fans really want to see the most is not necessarily DLC. They want to see the third part of the series as quickly as possible. So that's why we decided not to focus the development resources on creating additional extra episodes for DLC at the moment. We are really putting all our efforts into getting the third game out as quickly as we can. So for the moment, that's where we are focusing our time." And for me, this is the best thing I could hear from them. I'm not interested in getting some DLC for FF7 Rebirth. I want them to work on the last entry, and I want to get that last entry and see what their plans are going forward with that final part. And if they want to do some, spin-off content after that, that's fine. Some episodes about other characters, that's fine. But what I want them to do, and what they are doing, is focusing full force on the third entry of Final Fantasy VII Remake series. And I think a lot of people actually want that as well. I don't think a lot of us are looking at DLC as something we're interested in. And I only think the reason we got the Yuffie DLC was to bridge that gap between releases, as well as experimenting with some new stuff that they were doing as well, and, filling in a gap in the story to introduce Yuffie, which is fine. But if they decided not to do that as well, it would have been totally okay with a lot of us because, well, they were working on Rebirth, and Rebirth was very, very good. So for me personally, I'm quite all right with them focusing full force on the third part of the remake series, and I think a lot of people will. Let me know if you guys feel the same way about that. But let's talk about what he had to say regarding Rebirth and some things that he felt people complained about and what he thinks he would like to do differently, as he was talking with the Daily Star once again. So speaking candidly to the Daily Star, Hamaguchi-san said that for the most part, he is pleased with the reception of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. In quotes, "I think that what we did with Rebirth, the structure of the game, the balance, everything in it, was very good, and it was received very well by the fans," he says. "So I don't think there's any need for major changes there, really." So when I hear this, I'm thinking like the structure of the game, like the open world, having many tasks to do in the open world, the different aspects of the game that culminate and become what opens up the map and what brings your characters to a higher level and your party to a higher level in the bonds between the characters. I think that's something that's definitely going to be there, but I do think that obviously they're going to elevate that as well. He does say one thing perhaps that maybe needs looking at is that there was a certain number of people who said there were too many mini-games in Rebirth, and I can see their point of view, but I do think we made the right decision in terms of the breadth and volume of content for the mini-games in Rebirth. Obviously, the more different types of content, the more mini-games you put into a title, the more likely it is that people will like some and not others. So I don't think we failed at all in that decision of having such a broad amount of content there. It was that what was needed for the game. But certainly looking forward to the third game and to other games, if you ask me, would I do the same number of mini games? I don't think I would. So what he's saying is for the future entry, for the last entry, they're going to do a more manageable size of mini games for those that really didn't like the mini games. For me, personally, I really enjoyed them. I had a lot of fun with it, and I felt it bridged the gaps between the game quite well. You'd go from a super serious moment, and you'd be able to kind of alleviate that with some mini games. But I've also heard some friends say, hey, these really serious moments, having those mini games thrown in the middle really took me out of the experience and kind of broke immersion for me. So I think there are two sides of the coin there, where there are people like me who like that break in between, and there are those who really didn't like that. And I think kind of meeting in the middle is probably ideal to appease both audiences, because they do basically want to please everybody if they can, although as impossible as it may seem. So for me personally, as far as that goes, I think it's a great thing that they want to, elevate the game and do better in certain aspects, but also recognize the really good things that they did with Rebirth and not going too far away from that, because I don't think they should deviate too far away because the formula they have there is really good. It just needs to be refined further to make it even better, which obviously they're going to do. Now, lastly, he says, I think there's one other thing actually, which I can say was a mistake on my part, something that I've already apologized for, and I definitely will not do again, which is how difficult I made it to get the Platinum Trophy. So rest assured, I have learned from that, and in the future, I will not be making Platinum Trophies that difficult. And again, this is one of those things where it's like, okay, if you don't like doing tedious or hard Platinum Trophies, then you're probably going to really like what he's saying here. In my opinion, I've always been of the mindset that a Platinum Trophy should be difficult, right? It should be a challenge to attain a Platinum Trophy, as the hardest ones are going to be the ones that you're most proud of and the ones that you're going to show off. Nobody ever says, hey, I got the Peppa Pig Platinum Trophy. No, but people will tell you about the Souls games that they got Platinum Trophies for because it is such an achievement. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a hard Platinum. That is no easy task. It is a time-consuming Platinum, and those hard mode VR battles are very challenging as well. So once again, it is a trophy or a Platinum Trophy that people can stand proud of. Mind you, if you're trying to make your game a little more accessible, then you probably want to go this way. In my opinion, I like that it's a hard Platinum Trophy to attain, and I think that it should stay that way, at least in my opinion. And I do recognize this is going to be different for other people, right? Everybody's not going to agree with the same with the mini game thing. But as far as I'm concerned, and in my personal preference, I really like the mini games, and I also really like the difficulty for the Platinum Trophy. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about that because, hey, you may feel very differently about it. Ultimately, guys, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, I don't think we're going to get anything this year about it. I know the Game Awards is coming up, and that is one of the Game Award Game of the Year nominees, and amongst other categories, which I think every single nomination they got, they deserve the award for because I think it's the best game this year. And I do expect that it's going to win a lot of them, but I don't expect there to be a Remake Part 3 announcement here. I do think that if we're looking at a teaser trailer for Remake Part 3, we're likely looking at 2025, sometime in 2025, probably Q4 2025, because that'll be enough time for them to have been working on the game, and it also would be due time for them to show us something. They've been working on this game for a while. You know, even before Part 2 had launched, right? They had talked about how we've got a lot of stuff, you know, the framework done for this game. We've been working really hard on this game. So if they're there and then now they're saying that, hey, we've got everything decided, there's nothing else that's up in the air anymore as far as the game goes, it means that they are pretty much full force ahead and they're ready to start pushing the gas pedal on development for this game. And so I definitely expect us to hear something sometime in 2025. But that is all I have for you guys in today's video. Please let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about their decision to not do DLC? How are you feeling about them deciding to pull back on the amount of mini games? And lastly, their decision to make the Platinum Trophy easier. Let me know in the comments. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to never miss a Final Fantasy update, share the video to help grow our community. Thank you all for watching. Take care.